welcome to this deep dive. You handed us a pretty fascinating stack of personal feedback notes on your content creation journey today.
Yeah, there is a lot to dig into here.
There really is.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to unpack this fascinating paradox in your notes. Basically, figuring out how you can take your channel from this raw, surface-level stage into deep analysis without losing its soul.
Right, because there's this really interesting tension going on. The feedback warns that you risk being superficial, stating truths without the how or why. But then, paradoxically, it heavily praises the channel's infantile stage.
Yeah, so, okay, let's unpack this. The infantile stage. Wait, isn't that usually an insult? Like, is this like a musician recording a raw acoustic demo tape in their garage? It's unpolished, but people prefer it to an overproduced, soulless studio track.
That is a perfect analogy. Yeah, it sounds contradictory, but the phrase infantile stage is actually a massive compliment disguised as criticism.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because what your audience is responding to is the rawness. Your content is authentic and completely free of that corporate bullshit that people are just so immune to these days.
I get that, so it feels real.
Exactly. That rawness prevents the content from feeling artificial, which honestly leads right into the next major point from your notes.
The ethical starting point, right?
You got it.
Huh.
Building on that acoustic demo tape authenticity, this rawness establishes what your notes call the ethical starting point. It's identified as your absolute biggest strength.
Wow, the biggest strength.
Yeah, it's the vital hook. It is the core reason people care enough to actually give you this kind of detailed feedback in the first place.
So what does this all mean for growth, though? I mean,
Yeah.
being an authentic, ethical voice gets them in the door, but doesn't relying only on that goodwill eventually lead back to the first problem, being superficial?
Oh, 100%. That is the trap. Goodwill is just the foundation. Trust gets them to click, but it doesn't really give them a reason to stay. If you rely entirely on just being the honest, relatable guy, you hit a ceiling. To retain the audience, a pivot is totally required.
Okay, well, here's where it gets really interesting, because the notes outline a super clear strategy for this pivot. Basically, you have to keep the simple, raw format, but significantly dial up the complexity of your arguments.
Yes, you have to transition your persona.
So we keep the acoustic guitar, but we start playing much more complex chords.
I love that, yes. Right now, the feedback implies you are someone who merely holds opinions. And, well, anyone can have an opinion. You need to become someone who rigorously analyzes the topic.
So you're finally answering the how and the why that was missing at the start.
Precisely. You move from the what to the how and why. By injecting deep analysis into that approachable format, you give them a masterclass, but with the intimacy of a chat with a friend.
Got it. So to wrap this journey up for you, you need to embrace that raw, corporate-free format. Use your ethical starting point as the ultimate hook and, elevate your content from simple opinions to deep analysis.
Yeah, keep the garage studio, but start writing masterpieces inside it.
For sure. But we'll leave you with a final provocative thought to ponder today. If your raw authenticity gets people in the door and deep analysis makes them stay, what happens when your newfound rigorous analysis starts challenging the very audience that originally just loved your raw opinions?